Hi, I'm Natalia Vignola, and as my name might suggest, I've been around Rancho Vignola and Rancho Vignola products since the very beginning.
And I'm Cory Bialecki, and I have not. But I have been around for several years now. Been fortunate enough to help out with the Rancho Vignola harvest sales all the way from Alberta right through to Vancouver Island.
The recipe we're going to be doing today is a plant-based Irish cream.
This year we've been doing a lot more with nut milks in general, and we thought this would be a really unique way of using it in a different application.
And it's actually great if you like Irish cream to have a non-dairy version, because I don't know about you, but I don't love consuming a lot of dairy if I can avoid it, so this one is really great for that. It also has a lot less sugar and a lot less preservatives and the things you might find in a store-bought Irish cream, so that's a nice big plus.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Walnut.
Walnut who?
Walnut, you get started while I go make a coffee.
Before we get started with this recipe, I want to talk about the importance of using only new crop nuts. We're going to be making nut milks or nut creams. So when you're doing that, you need two things. You need nuts that are raw, and you also need nuts that are super duper fresh. The reason for that is as nuts age, the oils start to change a little bit. They'll dry out a little bit, you'll start to lose some flavor, and so with the drier nuts, they're not going to blend as nicely, and your cream won't be as smooth and the way you like it. The second thing is that as the oils age, they start to get some rancidity to them, and that's when you'll start to notice some bitterness. When you're making nut milks, all of that rancidity or any bitterness in the nut is really going to come to the surface, and you are so going to notice it. So it's very, very important to start with those fresh nuts. The ingredients we're going to be using today starts right over here with these beautiful soaked raw cashews. Now I soaked these ahead of time. Normally I would soak them overnight, but today I wasn't quite that organized. So if you're pressed for time, you can always just soak them in hot or warm water, and then you can reduce your soaking time by a lot. So I only soaked these for about 45 minutes. And they're nice and mushy, and that's what you want. I've also got some beautiful fresh almond milk that I made myself. Now it's very important that you use homemade almond milk. The stuff you buy in the store is not going to cut it for this recipe, because you need something super duper creamy, and you need to control the creaminess and the thickness of it. And you also, as I said before, you really want to start with a nice fresh product. So Rancho has just come out with their very own nut milk bags. Now, if you were one of the lucky customers last year who placed a wholesale order, you probably already got one of these. Since I got mine, I've been making almond milk like pretty much every single week. I love it. It's amazing. This bag is definitely built to last. I wring it out very hard every time, and it still hasn't fallen apart. And it's also really fine mesh, so you get a nice creamy nut milk. So forget about buying your nut milks, because making it at home just tastes so much better. We also have 1 cup here of an Irish whiskey. We've also got 1 teaspoon here of vanilla, 2 teaspoons of a beautiful organic cocoa powder, 2 ounces of coffee. Now I made this just drip coffee, but I made it a little stronger than I might normally make it. It's not espresso though. This is something you can kind of play with. Start with your normal drip and see how you go. And I've got some beautiful maple syrup here. This is half a cup. And 1 cup of water, just to blend everything all together. We're gonna start this recipe by blending these raw cashews and the water in the blender, and then whip it up on high until it's super, super creamy. I didn't make a nut milk ahead of time with these cashews because it's actually kind of unnecessary. If you soak them and then you put them in with water, they basically completely dissolve as you blend them, and then you get this amazingly rich, creamy cream with them. And it's nice for this recipe because then you can really control how thick you want the base of it to be. Some people like their Irish cream to be quite thick, and some people like it a little thinner. So just by adjusting the amount of water you use, you can decide how thick you want it. Our next step is simply to add all the rest of these ingredients into the blender, blend it up, and we are good to go. And just like that, we're done. We're ready to pour this and enjoy.
The most important part of any recipe is sampling time, and I'm going to choose coffee to sample this in.
And I'm going to have mine over a little ice, just the way I like it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yep.
Yeah.